Good morning, USA ISB show. Sahil Ishana. We've been talking a lot of men's soccer, but we have a lot of fans of women's soccer. We know all of you viewers out there who have been following us from the beginning. It was an international window for the women, covering, of course, our U.S. women's national team, which we, of course, Ishana, have to do every window. And my goodness, was this a good window if you were part of the USA women's team?
Yeah, I mean, look, after that loss to Portugal before, where people will start saying stuff and then Emma Hayes just comes out and does what Emma Hayes does. And, we're looking pretty strong. I think one of the commentators said that this is champagne football, and I would have to agree.
All right, so let's show the scores real quick of both of the matches. Here it was, for those who missed it, 3-0 against Italy in the first match. And then the second match, 2-0. You see a lot of Kat Macario's name on there. Scored 3 goals over the course of 2 matches. Ishana probably should have had another one. We'll talk about that in a second. That one was disallowed. But in all, U.S. women blank an Italian side, which is the 12th ranked side in the world. Not bad for the U.S. women.
Yeah, I mean, as we were saying, they were cooking. They were just, the assists, the play up in the box, the long balls and distribution from Lily Yohannes, the wing play from Alyssa Thompson, from Emma Sears. I mean, I could go on and on. The defense from Emily Fox, Girma, my gosh, that first game, Secretary of Defense, one-on-one, Girma comes up. You think, oh, there's no way. And of course, she does what Girma does. Saves us.
You named some of the players already, but let's get into it. We got to just get into it right now, Ishana, because there were a lot of players. There were a lot of players that were basically, as we like to say, cooking for the U.S., right? That's what we were kind of talking about. And let's go into those players right now. So who do you want to say? Which players were cooking for the U.S.?
Well, we'll start with Macario, the easy choice here. Macario was on fire. This goal today was absolute quality. Chip right above the goalie. Excellent placement. She's so calm. She definitely would have had a second one as well, although that one was disallowed because of a foul that did not exist. We don't have VAR, so we can't contest that. But that being said, I believe the first game there was also a questionable one of whether Lavelle was offside. So, we got to. And speaking of Lavelle, she has had a great comeback. She's coming off this Gotham winning the NWSL, and she is just really hungry to get back out there and show that she belongs, and she does.
Let's talk about Lily Yohannes. You're going to say, is that who you're going to mention? Or yes. Okay. What do you got?
That was my third player. Yes. Lily Yohannes, again, amazing distributor. She has 2 assists on the board there. Just such quality. I still want to see her. I say this every time. I want to see her be a little less casual on the ball so that she's not as easy to defend when she's hanging on to the ball. But to be honest, she doesn't even hang on to the ball that long because she knows exactly where to feed the player. And especially the chemistry between her and Macario was just top notch. And yeah, I think there are a lot of players who really proved themselves. I think we had some great debuts as well. I thought Real had a good game back there. I think that defensive left back position is probably the biggest question mark in terms of what's up for grabs, assuming Tierna Davidson does not, if she doesn't come back. And I thought she did a good job.
Yeah, I got to say, I thought Lily Yohannes and Macario, you mentioned those 2 names. They had a stellar window. I thought, Dickey has kind of proved herself now. 2 clean sheets, had to make the save when she had to, didn't get tested a lot, but when she did, very solid, very commanding and going out and getting those balls on corners, so that she had a good window. I thought up front, like we mentioned, these 2 names, but also Jaedyn Shaw had a fantastic window, scored a goal also.
Shaw, yes. Shaw had a great game. Again, she's also coming off a great season with Gotham, and it's nice to see her. She's kind of been up and down in terms of her trajectory with the US women's national team, and I think we all want her to really perform well, and that's what she has been doing lately. And I think, if we're talking about more debuts, I think Wisner did have a decent debut as well.
Yeah.
I thought Jasmine had a decent debut as well. I do still see a role for Lindsay Heaps out there. She almost scored off a header this game, and then obviously Macario kind of took that afterwards. And I think she's still additive as a sub. I did question whether between Foxy and Patterson, is there like maybe a duel there, but nah, Foxy. I want her to take a little bit more risks, but I also don't want her to, because she is just so damn consistent.
Yeah.
And that is what I'm seeing, I think, now from this team that I didn't see as much before, is the consistency.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think speaking of cooking, Girma and Fox are 100%. They're locked in. Those are their positions. It's all locked in terms of that. But all right, based on this window, Ishana, they played a very good Italian squad, as I mentioned. A top 12th in the world. So we revisit this question because now we're starting to see the evolution of this team. I wouldn't even call it depth, because I think some of these players may have superseded aspects of triple espresso, and they might actually be the players that would actually start this match, right? So my question to you is, as I just put it up there, let's put it up again so everyone can see it. Are the US women the number one team in the world?
Okay, so I'm going to say, in terms of our depth, potentially. I just think that we have so much depth, and while teams like Spain and England have, great depth as well, you had Ajamon coming in, scoring during the Euro. You have a young player like Vicky Lopez on Spain who's super hungry. They definitely have some good people on the bench. However, I don't know if it quite compares. However, if we're just going A team to A team, I don't know. I still think England's starters are a little bit stronger on their finish. Like a player like Alessia Russo, for example. Let's compare her to Alyssa Thompson, for example. As much as Alyssa Thompson is so fast, and she gets some great assists, some great crosses, I, she needs to work on her finish a little bit when she's trying to score herself, and it's things like that I think sometimes England has like a cleaner. They have more players who can deliver like a clean finish the way Macario can, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think that is something that'll come though in time. These are very young players, and I think they're still 2 years away from the World Cup, or at least a year and a half away from the World Cup. So basically, I think that this is going to be a team that when you get to that point, I think a lot of these players will be able to challenge against England and against Spain. And I'd love to see, Shana, a match against them. Wouldn't you like to see that? I think we all want to see that.
Well, yeah, I definitely do. Partially because as I think Dickey did have a great camp, but I do also want to see her challenged a bit to see if she is the keeper, and just in terms of that. And I want to see a little bit more challenge defensively. Obviously, we have that one-on-one for Girma. Sonnet performed as she always does, but there haven't been too many tests, and a team like, I mean, just in England or Spain would deliver that for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were looking at. We thought Italy would give that to the U.S. women's national team, but that did not happen. Both matches was a complete domination.
I mean, 12th versus second is that's like quite a departure, I would say. I mean, we are ranked second. We have to remember that.
That is fair. That's a fair point. Let's see who they line up next. I know they're playing Paraguay in January. We'll see how that goes. But for all you U.S. women fan, let us know your thoughts in the comments. What did you think of this performance? This ends the window for the U.S. women for the year. A solid year overall. Ishana, give me your final thoughts as we wrap up the U.S. women's national team for this calendar year?
Well, I think one thing that I'm encouraged by is I think part of the problem we had going to the last World Cup is, we had these players coming back from pregnancy, from this or that, and they're kind of like last minute slotted in by Vladko. And, maybe that was honoring a bit of veteran respect and that sort of thing. But that's going to be a big question mark when we have players like Trin come back from injury, possibly Tierna Davidson, Swanson, Sophia Wilson, etc. However, I'm happy to know that I think Emma Hayes will go with what looks like the strongest squad right now. And she is not going to, I think she's made that very clear with, especially when, she left Alex Morgan off the Olympic squad. And that to me sets a good precedent moving forward for, obviously I want to see these players back. It's always nice to have our vets back, but we have so much young talent and I'm excited to see how they progress. And if these players come back from, their respective sabbaticals and time off for injury and they're kicking ass, I'm happy to have them out there. But I'm also happy to know that in Emma Hayes, we trust. So
Yes.
she will make the right decision.
So I say, have faith in Emma Hayes. So for all you fans of the U.S. women's national team, and if you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe to the channel. And of course, as we now focus a little bit more on the men's World Cup toward the end of this year, as we get the drought and that. But for the women, have your say. Have your say, because we will kick it all back again in January when the U.S. women are back in action, and the rest of the women from around the world are back in action as well. For those enjoying these videos, please subscribe to the channel. See y'all soon. Keep watching the beautiful game.